Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's 3 p.m. It's time for a very special edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. No Ironhead today, so counterbalancing former Penn State offensive lineman Keith Goon Conlin.
Hello.
I got former Penn State defensive lineman and my obligatory pregame show co-host Brandon Noble.
Good to be
What's
back.
happening, Nobes? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a nice, beautiful, rainy day here in State College. Yesterday was gorgeous. Good to be good. I haven't been up since football season, so it's good to get up here.
And the weather hasn't changed since you were last
exactly
up here.
right. I should have remembered a sweatshirt.
Same day after Thanksgiving, it was rainy, and today it's raining too.
Yes.
Yesterday was beautiful.
It was.
Tomorrow should be beautiful. Today you travel.
Yeah, basically. Absolutely. It's all good.
So thanks for joining us here at the Loop.
I appreciate
in honor of the Northman's release, he came out dressed as a Viking, so I'm very happy with Brandon. He's got in the character a little bit.
Yep, the axes are in the car.
I feel bad because I was dressed up as Maverick, but I didn't want to steal Nobes' thunder. You know what I mean?
I think like pretty much any other television job that doesn't involve a survival series on like the Discovery Channel, like you can't
that's it.
look like that.
I'm very pigeonholed at this point.
We're very loosey-goosey.
Yeah, thankfully I do a lot of radio.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, I wanted to start out today and just talk to you a little bit about one of your teammates, including two other Nittany Lions who were all nominated for the College Football Hall of Fame. We'll start, of course, by mentioning the great Ki-Jana Carter, making his first appearance on the College Hall of Fame ballot. You guys both played with Ki-Jana. Another running back, DJ Dozier, up for induction, and one of my all-time favorite Penn State players, definitely linebackers. I think a lot of folks, number 31, Paul Posluszny, also showing up for the first time.
That's your first era guy.
What's that?
First guy that you were in school with, the era, right? If he got there in 01.
Well, I'm thinking, so is LeVar in?
Yeah, LeVar got put in last year.
Yeah, right.
He will be inducted this year.
Yeah, so that would be LeVar would be the first.
Right.
And Courtney Brown's going to be in there real soon. If
Should
he's not, I mean, it's crazy to me that they're not in alongside each other.
I
get it. But I mean,
we've been together for the last 24 hours. We've been talking a lot about this, but there's criteria that goes into it.
Yeah.
And
well, Courtney was a first team All-American,
for sure. But that's a big thing. So I know you're going to drop the question here, but I mean, so you may as well do that. So I don't feel like I'm going to talk like an idiot right now.
So Kerry Collins is already in. You were at his induction.
Sure.
The whole O-line was there for him.
Kerry bought the whole offensive line, and Craig Service, our offensive line coach, he paid for our table at that night at the event, and it was an amazing
you guys
time.
Protected him all throughout that 94 season. Give the sacks stat again. Go ahead.
Well, our backup quarterback, Wally Richardson, was sacked twice as our backup quarterback, and Kerry was sacked 3 times as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So the whole year.
Wally was probably in with Tilch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the backups had to be in by the time Wally was playing, right?
My little brother, Kevin, redshirted in 1993. He led her in 94 as the third-team center.
Yeah.
But then he did not let her in 95.
And so what – you explained to let her, you had to what?
You have to play a certain amount of plays in the season, in the game and stuff like that, in most of all the games. But because we were doing what we were doing, our third-team guys they actually
played.
They played like we had the second-team guys in the whole third
quarter.
Like
a quarter or more.
They played they played a quarter. Yeah. They got the third-team guys in the fourth quarter. And, you're talking about sacks. I remember sitting there against USC. We give up a sack. Wally taking a sack, and we're like, that's our stat, man. Come on, dude. You know what I mean?
Get rid of the ball.
Yeah, throw the thing away. God almighty, you're killing us. So I don't know who I was talking to this weekend. But KC was sacked. I gave up a sack against Michigan, I think third or fourth quarter. And I've talked about that a lot in this. But that was the last time Curry was sacked the whole season, including the Rose Bowl.
Wow.
And that was the 6th game of the year. So we gave up 3 sacks in 6 games and then 0 the next 6 games. But
that's impressive.
Yeah.
So you protected Kerry Collins, College Football Hall of Famer, paved the way for Ki-Jana Carter. I have to think future Hall of Famer, if not first ballot, real soon he gets in.
Well, you were going through the list today, And that was I don't know the criteria of the votes.
I mean, so Reggie Bush is on there. He's going to be. He's a first ballot guy
Tim
for sure.
Tebow,
Heisman Trophy winner.
Tim
Another
Tebow.
Heisman Trophy guy, Tebow. Sure.
Yeah. So the question that Chris and I came up with, which was really a good one. I mean, I'm sitting there. I mean, it stems from this, and I say, when my quarterback got in, me, Bucky, Andre, Marco, and Jeff, we got in. That was our feeling and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it got me thinking, and I texted Kijana today, congratulating him and stuff like that. He gave the old, well, I could never done it without you guys. I said, yeah, we know that. There's no doubt about that. But he was like, I thought he was on the ballot before once, but he was not. So this is his first year eligible for it. And then it got me thinking, how many guys have their starting quarterback and their starting running back in the College Football Hall of Fame? I mean, we were naming some off the top of our head and stuff like that, which was pretty cool to do, to start thinking about it, because you got to be a first-team All-American. Not many teams have a first-team All-American quarterback and running back. You know what I mean?
No.
So the names we had come up with was Tommy Frazier and Lawrence Phillips, but we don't know if Phillips will get in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
But is Amon Green there? You know what I mean?
Not with Lauren. Not with Tommy. I don't think. I don't know. I could be wrong there.
Well, so and to go back to the question.
Sure.
I feel like the accomplishment of Collins and Carter both getting in is not just that they crossed over on the same roster. They were part of the same backfield. Like, they were the number one guy at both positions.
At the same time.
So Amon Green might have been on the same roster
Yeah.
with
we were talking
Tommy
about
Frazier,
the
but
Miami, the 90s,
Yeah.
the 2000s Miami's teams, but you have, they have to have it. So the question is, how many quarterbacks and running backs on the same team are in the NFL or in the College Football Hall of Fame? So we thought about Bush and Leinart. That's going to be that's a
so
guarantee.
Bush will get in this year, and Leinart will get in shortly thereafter.
If he's not in already, I don't know.
I know. I am almost positive he isn't. Like, for Matt, all due respect to Matt Leinart, for him to get in ahead of Reggie Bush would be insanity.
Didn't he win the Heisman before Bush?
No, the other way around.
Okay. So this is, Brandon can attest to, we had this cocky arrogance about us as our offense in 94, and rightfully so. I mean, we knew we couldn't be stopped. So actually, we all made a pact and we all bought tuxedos. And so this isn't the first time we're going to be wearing these. Nice. So we got 5 guys going in just on our offense. And in my opinion, that should be in the College Football Hall of Fame by the time it's all said and done. And that's Kyle, Jeff Hardings, Bobby Ingram, Kijana, and Kerry. I mean, you can't, as an offensive lineman, my God almighty. Again.
By the way, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Leinart did win it the year before.
He won it first, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking about Gino Torretta, Ken Dorsey, and not Eric Walsh, but Walsh from
Steve Walsh.
Stephen Walsh and Testaverde. I mean, there has to be
Is he in trouble?
Steven. There has to be some carryover, but I don't remember. I mean, running backs for Miami, Alonzo Highsmith and Melvin Bratton with Vinny Testaverde. I don't know if they were first-team All-Americans, and I think that's the criteria. I'm pretty sure that is one of the biggest criterias of it. So we've been throwing some names around. I mean,
so going back to that Miami team, the 2001 Miami team. So Ken Dorsey was their quarterback. Like, obviously not much of a pro career, but a very prolific college quarterback, national champion, runner-up the following year. Is that enough to get you in? And then the question is, he played with so many good running backs
and receivers and offensive linemen and tight ends.
Yeah, does Clinton Portis and Willis McGahee and Frank Gore, all of those guys splitting carries, do they take away from each other? Najee Davenport. Yeah,
they say backfield.
Lost on that depth chart was Jarrett Payton, Walter Payton's son. Do you know he picked Miami over Penn State?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he said, I grew up in Chicago. I need to get away from winter.
Fair.
I mean, but probably would have seen the field a lot more in Happy Valley than he did
What year
in Coral
was he?
Gables.
So he was in 96 to, he's fighting with Curtis Enos.
he would have come in like
Corey Lowry?
he would have come in right at the end of Curtis's career. So we really more would have been him and McCoo and Omar Easy.
He
And
wouldn't
Larry
he wouldn't
Johnson.
have an agent buy him a suit though.
Mm.
Probably not. He probably had one of his.
I would hope his dad could buy him a
His
suit.
dad had given him one. So, yeah. No, that was funny that we were talking about that last week. Is Curtis's suit? I mean, now what the guys are making nowadays, and think about that. I mean, he got kicked out of a bowl, kicked out of school for
ridiculous
accepting a suit from an agent,
an ill-fitting suit.
and it was an ugly suit to begin with.
Oh.
But to go to the award ceremonies with it because he had nothing. It
Yeah.
was like, but. This is the other thing, is that there are programs in college football set up back in the day for that type of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know why. I don't know why Curtis would go and do that, but it is what it is. And
we talked about Jason White and Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people forget Jason White because he kind of sucked, but he did win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
And, to the point where we're rattling off these names like Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Tim Tebow. And we're saying, automatic because they're Heisman Trophy winners. That was the other thing with Buchignani and Carey. They took votes away from each other.
Yeah.
So either one of those guys playing on their own, that's a Heisman Trophy season, no doubt about it.
But
when
we were down
on the same team,
when we were down in Florida for Austin's golf tournament a couple weeks ago, Marco was there and Juice and Buchignani, so we were all laughing and joking. My older brother, was there, so he's just talking like. Trey Bauer could always sit there and say, can you imagine the 94 offense had to play the 86 defense? And we always kid around. We'd put 40 up on you. There's no way you're not going to score. Just kidding around with him. But we were talking, and Marco gets very, very upset that the old man didn't politic for us to get the national title, and the fact that he pulled the reins back on Buchignani and Carey, for that matter, so much. He goes, now, think about this, Booch. Then was if you rushed for 2,000 yards, you were guaranteed that.
Automatic.
That's Troy Davis was the first guy to not get that.
Yeah.
So I believe Rashawn Salam got to 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Marco's argument was if Joe let us play 4 quarters, he says he thinks Buchignani would have had 3,000 yards rushing in one season.
That's not a crazy
but that's
at all.
So, but that's exactly. It's not a crazy thought, but it is absolutely crazy thought.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, somebody says, well, until somebody pops their knee in the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you're sitting there, you lost a star player.
What were you doing playing them when you guys were up by 30 points?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid type of thing. I went to the Sixers. Got it in for you.
Thanks so much.
Got that dig in there for you
I
right
really
there.
appreciate that.
Yeah, but I was sitting there and I was like, oh, you know what, dude? He averaged 7.6 a carry.
He was so good. Just boom, there he goes.
Like, dude, it was like you give him a hole, and that was the thing.
Yeah.
Try and tackle him low. His legs were enormous. Still are.
Yeah. And that's when we wore shoulder pads, so it made him look even bigger.
It is. There was a Michigan-Ohio State game on like 2 weeks ago. We were sitting there laughing.
Yeah, it's massive neck rolls everywhere.
There's a guy out there playing wide receiver. He's got like 3X shoulder pads on. And you're like, how the hell did you raise your arms to catch the ball? But
amazing.
Yeah. Now we're watching. I love watching all these old. And again, there's David Macklin again.
Yeah, they've got a Rams-Colts game on NFL Network here at the Lube, and we're picking out Nittany Lions alumni left and right. So who's on the Colts? Brad Scioli, Jimmy Nelson, David Macklin.
Yep.
And then on the Rams, you've got Tyoka Jackson and Kim Herring, right?
Yep.
And I think this game we're about a year off from Jimmy Kennedy. He's still at Penn State while this game is being played.
Grant Whistler's still playing DN for them. Huh.
So
Butch, that's my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Marco was adamant, saying if we had even let us play the third quarter, he'd have had 2,700 yards.
Yeah,
and that'd have been a college football record.
Yep.
And that's what Marco's like. Well, we should have done. You know how?
Yes.
Noble's going to laugh because he knows how Marco just flies off the handle. Oh, we're going to do this.
It sounds like that.
2,500, 2,700, it was not out of the picture. I mean, what do you have, 1,700? And he had half as many
15
carries as Salam, I mean, he was just – and, we've told the story 2,000 times about the Rose Bowl, the opening play. not one person blocking the right person. And it's like that's how good he was. It was just like you just gave him a crease, and he was so fast, but he was so powerful too to get through that crease. So
that's what I tell.
He was pretty damn impressive.
That's what I tell the youngsters at Penn State now about Kajana Carter is that the one thing that has stuck with me from watching him back in the day was that you always felt as a fan like every time he touched the ball, there was a realistic chance he was going to score.
There's no doubt about that.
Which is a crazy thing. Like anywhere on the field.
I think we all felt
any
like
situation.
We felt that in the huddle.
Yeah.
You couldn't look away because you were like, okay, there's a not insignificant chance where you guys could be on your own 10-yard line. It's like, this could be a score.
Yeah.
Which was brutal on you guys.
The
that
play
offense
was
just
horrible.
put you guys through your paces all season long.
That was but look, that's way better than turning the ball over and going out there and playing from behind.
Or having to defend a 7-point lead for 4 quarters like you did
brutal.
in Dallas.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Winning 9-6, those kind of games. Yeah, I'll take a 42 to 14 point drubbing any day. And it was, it was a challenge. It was fun to watch those guys. Practice made you played against that offense in practice, and going out and playing the football game on Saturday really wasn't too hard. From a weapons standpoint, you were going to you got 4 ridiculous linemen, a monster mutant tight end, right? All these receivers. I mean, it was good for you.
You played with 6 linemen. Most of the time.
I mean, dude, I told you last week I was the luckiest man in America. I played between 2 All-Americans. I played between Hardys and Cal Brady every play. Like, I'm just sitting there. I'm out there taking pictures.
You also had, functionally 2 more offensive linemen in the backfield. Whitman and Milne. Yeah, crazy. What an offense, man.
Milne was 270 at one point playing fullback. And Whitman is an absolute savage back there. I mean, Brandon will tell you, that guy was psycho, dude. He just had to look like, I'm going to run through you.
Yeah, he's flat top, mustache.
Yeah.
Both of them had mustache, which is amazing, as all fullbacks should.
Oh,
yes. I'm totally with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a special group right there. They were fun to watch.
Yeah. I always tell the story that, when did we really realize that we were going to be damn good? And see, I was lucky. Not because I had Jeff and Kyle between outside of me, but Bucky really was kept everybody in line. I mean, he's the captain till the day I die. And he just played, and he knew what the old man wanted. The old man would go to him and say, get these guys, relax him, get him going, this and that. Bucky knew what the hell to say and how to get everybody going. So remember in the preseason, and Brandon will tell you that every college, pro, biddy, mini football, touch football, the defense is so far ahead of the offense when it comes to preseason practice.
Especially the first week or two.
I mean, it's just like they ball, hit, kill. I mean, that's what they do. We got to work on cadence, our footwork, our timing, this and that, yada, yada, yada. So we're midway through camp, and we're rolling. I mean, making plays, and the old man said, no, that was a hold. That was a hold. Come bring it back here. And we're all sitting there. You got to be kidding me, yelling at the old man. Bucky's like, shut up, relax. He goes, he knows we're that good. Yeah. He's stacking the deck against us. And I'm like, holy shit, Bucky, you're right, because it's exactly what he would do to us the last 3 years. Jim Dieter coming untouched from the nose guard position, running over, Louis Benfatti. Again, defense is a lot easier to get your timing down and your quickness because you can work on it. But an offensive lineman, you need a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, again, you even watch the first 2 games of any college or pro game anymore, it's the offensive line play is very, very lacking. So, I mean, we talk about our team, and that was when we knew, holy shit, we're pretty damn good.
We're pretty good.
He's stacking the deck against us. He's like, all right, 4th and 22 now. All right, let's get this one.
Yeah.
KC drops Freddie Scott across the middle for 30.
That wasn't fair.
It was fun.
But it was fun.
If you look at the stats from that 94 offense, they still hold up and look very impressive, through the lens of 2022. But what I always emphasize to people is that you can't judge that offense by the standards of modern college offenses because the rules have changed so much and the game has evolved that there's way more scoring and the stats are inflated. You have to compare what that team was doing versus all the other teams in the country
At that time.
who were their peers. And again, like it would be like if an offense in the Big 12 was averaging like 1,800 yards a game and scoring, 70 or 80
Or
points.
somebody in the Big 12 actually making defensive stops. I mean, that's just unheard of.
Yeah. And so, Kajana, congratulations.
Yeah, and then
should be a
DJ
first
Dozier's
ballot
in
guy.
there. He's up for it again. I know he's been in there a long time. Hopefully he gets in. And then your guy. Our guy, everybody's guy.
Let me throw this out to you. So, I understand the Notre Dame bias.
Let me go back to the offense
please.
thing. I won't say who said it, but he's like, you think about the 94 team. He's like, we were running an outdated offense. That's the other thing about Penn State. You think about like who were our peers, and you're going against Michigan, Ohio State, and this and that. But we're Penn State. I mean, they never had this kind of offense.
Yeah,
and they never had it. Since. It was just like it was just such a weird year.
But statistically, you guys were you were up there with the like fun and gun Steve Spurrier type offenses with the production
again. But go back.
But schematically,
it
looked more like 1972.
Yeah, but we were running the same offense that they were running in the 70s and 80s.
Right,
the exact same offense. But I just think that the caliber of player was just that dominant at each position that it was like, I don't care what you have and throw at us. We're better than you. We're going to block you, and we're going to run right past you or throw it over you. And it was crazy because, like, the 95 offense, should have been very similar, but Wally, had some, like, growing pains type of things and this and that. But as the season went on, we picked up big time.
Mm-hmm.
But then we were back to relying on our defense by 1995. I mean, it was just such an anomaly and just such a weird thing to happen. Again, to happen at Penn State, running you can call it an archaic offense. It was just like, here it is. And Brandon will tell you, when it's the worst thing, the hardest thing you have to eat as a defensive player is knowing what they're going to run, and they still do
happens.
it.
That gets old.
A lot of the other
real quick
standout teams from the 80s on that had great offenses, think about 82. Some of the
we talked about
Blackledge
and Kurt Warner. Would they be a match in the Hall of Fame? But I think we figured out that was Todd a first-team All-American. I don't know.
I mean,
because that was Elway era, Marino,
yeah.
Tough to if it has the All-American question. So
yeah,
it was a real easy way to find that out, I guess.
The internets.
Yeah, the interwebs are very, very smart.
So going back to what I was saying about Puz.
Yeah.
First of all, man, just that guy could not have been more like a Penn State linebacker. Right. It's like they built a Penn State linebacker in a laboratory. Western Pennsylvania guy, just like, tough as nails, great in the classroom, great leader on the field. But one of the things that has always stuck in my craw is all the Heisman Trophy hype that Manti Te'o got.
Oh.
I get the whole Notre Dame bias and everything. So first of all, talk about other great Penn State linebackers. Yeah. Go do the Pepsi challenge right now. If you're in front of a computer or whenever you can get in front of Google, go look up linebacker stats from the 2012 college season and compare Manti Te'o, Gerald Hodges, and Michael Mauti, and just take the names off the stat lines and show them to someone and say which one of these players was a Heisman Trophy finalist. They're all basically comparable. And my question to you is, going back to Puzlesny, Manti Te'o was considered a top 5 for the Heisman Trophy.
Jeez.
Would you take of Paul's 2 seasons at Penn State, where he was a full-time starter the whole season? Because
he wasn't in 04?
I guess he was. Now I'm thinking about it. I think he was almost.
Because he's the one who set
the
tone for 05.
Yeah.
He made that tackle against Indiana on the goal line.
Yeah, I guess he did start all or basically all of the 04 season. But any of that, would you take any of those 3 seasons over Manti Te'o's 2012? I'd take all 3 of them.
Sure. Sure, and then
Like that to me, that's a impact on the game. And they talk about it in the Hall of Fame. They're looking for that scholar athlete ideal, not just performance on the field,
that
but
comes
who
into
you
play?
are off the field.
Oh, no wonder I didn't get a call, bro.
Yeah.
How's he not a?
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah.
How's he not a first ballot guy?
Huh?
Should be.
Who?
Buzz.
He should
He
be.
has the name too.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Oh,
Because I think that the Polish name at the end, Puzluzny, from Penn State, the Puz, and then
Back-to-back Bednarik Award winners, right?
Yikes.
what
Yeah.
a honor that is for Coach Vanderlinden. You think about that.
Oh my God!
There's been a couple guys who've done it. It was Pat Fitzgerald and Paul Puzluzny. What do they have in common? Both coached by the same guy.
Yeah.
And then you got to get into.
It's a great point.
You got to get into Dan Connor.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to get into Sean Lee, and then we've somewhat talked about like Navarro Bowman he was probably the best of all of them, but he was not a first team All-American, but my God, was he an unbelievable player.
I think just as impressive as those top shelf guys you name are some of the. I guess I don't mean this in a insulting way at all.
Sure.
Like the next tier down. Like it's no insult to say you're the next tier down from Dan Connor and Paul Puzluzny. But like when
You're
Sean
probably pretty
Lee
good.
got hurt before the 2008 season, and in comes a guy we've had on the show, Josh Hall, who's a walk-on local
the
kid.
whole Billy.
Yeah.
Loved him.
Killed it.
Absolutely great.
And, he coached him up into being an NFL linebacker.
Did you hear what Sean?
Speaking of
blew his
mustaches,
knee
by
up?
the way, he had a legendary mustache. His senior year, Josh
Oh,
Hall.
yeah.
Phenomenal.
Very nice. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Sean Lee.
When he tore his knee up, you know
Yeah.
where that was? Coach's clinic, spring practice.
Oh.
Oh, he was doing a drill
On
or
a
something.
7-on-7, it was a pass thud, and we were in half pads because there was a scrimmage later in the day. Or maybe it's Friday afternoon, and they were, we were half pads, but everybody wants to look good for we talk about it all the time, everyone wants to look good in front of their coaches. So that wasn't it. Sean ran 9,000 miles an hour at everything he possibly did. Everything. Let being a strength coach, be like, dude, relax. Work on your form. Slow down, But it was everything, like a million miles an hour. And then even when he was going through rehab, but it was just funny when he did tear his knee up. Joe calls all these coaches in. And he's like, hey, I know you guys just saw something, but we want to keep this quiet. We don't want anybody to know about this. We weren't even back in the locker room, and it was already on all the message boards. It was like people couldn't get to their computers fast enough.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I mean, Puz has the name, had the game, and I go back. Like I was getting phone calls the day after that Ohio State game. And it was like the epitome of a Penn State linebacker was Paul Puzluzny out there in that game. Just, in the rain and mist and hitting, making that big sack later in the game.
Oh, huge.
And then he's running off the field and he runs at me. He's like, is it over? Is it over? I was like, dude, it's over. Nice. You calm down now. But there's a guy completely 1,000,000% involved in everything. Everything was revolved about his body and football.
Yep.
I mean, he was the epitome of what a football player, like, say he was like a robot, but he wasn't. I mean, he was a hell of a football player. And then he tore his knee up, and that was the Orange Bowl, right?
Yes.
And his PCL
that was the debut of Sean Lee. And of course, if you were of a certain age in the stadium, they said Sean Lee was coming in for Penn State. You're like, what?
Sean Fee.
What is he, a 12th year senior?
Exactly.
Lee, yeah.
From Harrisburg.
Different spelling.
Yes.
Yeah,
great dude.
yeah, Sean Fee. The
Yeah.
little Sean Fee was the man.
Oh, my goodness.
He was funny as hell.
I'm looking it up, by the way.
Remember who was the fourth linebacker who actually had to step down to play defensive end?
Tim Shaw.
Yep. To let Connor, Puzluzny, and Lee, and then Tim Shaw move the defensive end. He did a hell of a job.
He did, but he was a huge part of that linebacking core in 05.
Sure he was. Did a hell of a job. And then
a lot of he was the
so
Mike
good.
in 05.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was so good.
That let Puz and Connor just rove. And their instincts were so good, and they were so fast, and they were never out of position. That I mean, like, good luck.
Were out of position.
Good luck if you were in the second level
I
against
all
that
the time.
defense.
I watched Dan play for a few years, and I said, I never saw him get blocked. Like he was like he could take a guy like me on, hit me, take a step back, shed me, and then I mean I felt as if I did my job. I got in his way, and he had to make him, but he was so quick to recover. I called him a cat. That's how the dude played. And so you think that Dan, Sean, and I'm thinking is another one from that 05 era. I mean, Tamba had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was he
Tamba might be
All-American?
on that list. He was All American. I'm just thinking
Yep.
about going down the wall.
Yeah.
Guys that I see.
Man, good point. Good
I
point.
mean, Tamba's definitely was a first-team All-American, and he has the name and has the game and this and that, and people remember it. I mean, I think that he could possibly be in the College Football Hall of Fame. Do you think that Connor gets in before Tamba?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Connor
I
would
agree.
be because Connor would have been Eric.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
He only won one.
Yes.
Okay, but we went back to back with it, so we went 3 years in a row at Penn State.
Mhm.
Holy God!
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way, I looked it up. Kurt Warner is in the hall, but Todd Blackledge is not. And to your point, because of the other quarterbacks
Yeah.
who
Oh,
were
it was
seniors at that time, yeah, probably not.
well, Marino, Elway, Kenny O'Brien. What were the six from Elway to
Jim
Marino?
Kelly.
Jim Kelly. I mean,
Yikes.
Elway didn't win the Heisman, but he was by far and away the top quarterback in the country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We actually had to look that up to see who won the Heisman that year. I believe it was Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
Not
that
a bad
sounds right.
choice.
That sounds right. He was not too bad. Not a bad player.
So, yeah, to go back to the, quarterback, running back, and we got somewhere at USC other than Line and Bush. Is there any other quarterbacks out? I mean, who did the Bengals guy have?
Kenny O'Brien?
No.
You're talking about Joe Burrow?
No.
The Bengals guy. You're going to have to help me.
Yeah, one's
Achilles
like
Smith.
One's like 10 years ago. Blew his knee out.
Carson
Carson
Palmer.
Palmer.
Carson Palmer. He won a Heisman there, but who was his running back?
Lindell White?
No.
Wendell White was. Oh,
That's all I could come up with.
By the way,
besides
that Carson Palmer.
O.J.
O.J.
Simpson, I
Simpson.
think.
That
But Carson Palmer was a Heisman Trophy winner.
that
so
Carson Palmer Heisman Trophy was nonsense. Do you know why he won that Heisman Trophy?
what year was it?
It was 2002. It was Larry Johnson year. Like you would talk about running backs who sat the
God.
second half of games who could have had insane stats. Imagine what his stats would have been like if Joe just left him in the second half of the Indiana, Northwestern, and Michigan State games. I think he scored every time he touched the ball against Michigan State.
That was an unbelievable thing. I was
That
living in
was
Virginia.
insane.
I was like, I'm getting ready for this game, and I showed up to the party late, and I was like, it's 23-0. What the hell's going on here? And Larry Johnson's already over 2,000 yards in the first half.
Larry was
Fast.
over. He was over 2,000 yards before halftime. So Joe pulled him at the half until that game was over. To throw back to earlier in our conversation, do you know who the last tailback to take a carry for Penn State in that 2002 Michigan State game was?
Wasn't an actual running back?
At the time, he sure was. Timmy Shaw.
Oh, jeez.
Tim Shaw
Second mention of Tim Shaw today.
took the last handoff in the 2002 Michigan State game.
That's insane.
So yeah, so LJ had that incredible season. Was benched a lot after we were killing teams, and he had like 250 yards in the first half. He didn't play at all in the second half of those games, but he did crack 2,000 yards. There was a quarterback from Iowa, Brad Banks.
Yep.
I want to say, is that right?
Yeah.
He had an amazing season. Ripped us up at Beaver Stadium.
Well,
And we did come back on them, but we lost in overtime. We were talking about that about a week or two ago. And Carson Palmer wins it. Why? Because he's a pretty boy with the recruiting pedigree. He's at USC. And to me, I think what put him over the top on the Heisman Trophy ballots versus Banks, the Midwest guy,
Right.
or Larry Johnson, who, didn't put up the gaudy numbers in Penn State's losses that year, even though if you look at his rushing and receiving yards, it's still really, really good games. So Larry was not the reason we lost any of those games that season. Carson Palmer and USC played Notre Dame in prime time, like the last week of the season when there was nothing
At
else going
USC.
on.
Yeah.
National audience, and they won. And I was like, that's it. It's done. The media is so in love with the Notre Dame mythos that Palmer leading this, like an okay, not great USC team to victory, that's going to win him the Heisman
That
Trophy.
was his moment.
So speaking of that game,
Nonsense.
I was at a family party this weekend, and my older brother did not realize this, that when USC supposedly has a rivalry with Notre Dame, but when they play the game at Notre Dame, it's in October, early in the season. But when they play the game at USC, it's the last game of the season. Because they don't want to play in the cold, and that's complete BS to me.
I concur.
Horrible. I mean, come on. Really? That's how they're going to act. Well, we don't want to play in the cold. We want to play in the heat then.
Yeah.
We've always had the northern teams have always had to deal with that.
In the Rose Bowl too. That's a home game. I always said that for when USC plays in the Rose Bowl, they have a huge advantage because being in Southern California isn't a novelty to them.
Right.
And whatever Big Ten team goes out there is on vacation.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, we're gonna go to Disneyland and we're gonna go on.
I don't remember it being too fun out there, Nobes, and Nobes can attest to that.
Yeah, that was.
Well, it looked that way.
The old man did not like to lose bowl games.
Yeah.
It looked that way in 2008, man. It looked like we were on vacation and they were there to win a football game.
Well, my buddy Scott Kehoe, who played at Illinois, and he was there in the 84 85 when they lost to the Rick Neuheisel-led UCLA. But they were a 17-point favorite. You know what he told me? You know where Hugh Hefner went to college? Illinois.
Okay.
You know where the whole Illinois team was for the 8 days out there? Every day and every night, they were hanging out at the mansion in the grotto.
I get that.
I mean, wish we were there. We got Tommy Lasorda for God's sake.
Exactly.
You know?
Man,
Tommy Lasorda. They had like some Big Ten dinner for us or whatever. And they had guys that were Pennsylvania guys or Big Ten people and stuff like that. And Tommy was there.
Man, I tell you what. A couple of insiders got rich off that 17-point line.
Yeah. I do know that some friends of mine have often told me that if Chuck Penzenik ever shows up in our hometown, he shall and will pay for nothing. He broke up a 2-point play.
Yep.
Stopped the goal line like before halftime. Broke up a 2-point play and had 2 interceptions, almost returned them both for touchdowns.
Yep.
That was your roomie, right?
Chuck was awesome. Yep.
He only played in bowl games.
The Weasel.
He didn't play any time the rest of the year. He just played him because the next year he did the same thing against
giant shoulder pads. Giant. He had that terrible shoulder.
Oh, he came here with bum shoulders.
Yep. He had a hell of a Rose Bowl though.
So, Pooch, that's a good question. Who else do you think Penn State wise future? Who has the name and the game to go in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Well, obviously Saquon Barkley, right?
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
Yep. Yeah. So you brought up. Let's see. So you brought up Tom Bahali. That's a really good one.
It's a hell of a call.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, is he a Hall of Fame guy? I mean, the Hall of Fame is a big thing. I mean, you got to be like. But I think that he had that name, and when he made that tackle, how many people remember that Ohio State Penn State game in 2005?
I'm thinking about receivers because we've had a nice little run at the receiver spot here in the 2010s. But the issue for me is I start to lose perspective on what actually qualifies as like a really standout season or career for receivers because they all put up such crazy numbers now. Like I'm thinking about Allen Robinson, and that guy was a force of nature for Penn State. He was – I really think about this before I say this because I don't want to disrespect Deion Butler, but I think he was the best receiver I've seen at Penn State since Bobby Ingram. Allen Robinson. Yeah.
I mean, but Deion, Derrick, and Norwood were not All-Americans, so they would not be even eligible for that.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking about in terms of at Penn
Robinson
State.
All-American?
I can't remember.
Was Godwin? I mean, there's some freaking studs, man.
No. Godwin is probably – Godwin was great at Penn State, and we knew he was great. I think he was a little under the radar, both nationally in his senior season and then in the draft, too. He was undervalued in the draft, for sure. Every Penn State fan knew that Tampa got an absolute steal. And then, of course, now everybody knows him because he's had such a good pro career. But I don't think he's a Hall of Fame guy. I think it's maybe possible. Some of those guys, like from that era, the A-Rob,
we got to
Gesicki.
go through. Are you looking up on All-Americans in the Penn State All-Americans? I'd like to know who even is available to be put in.
Yeah, that's fair.
I go down the hall. I know Levi is there. I've seen his picture on the wall. Jared Odrick, Devin Still.
You know what? Levi Brown, yeah.
It's tough for an offensive lineman, though. It's really tough. You got to have like the great NFL career, in my opinion.
They say they don't care. They say they don't take it into account.
But you still, as an offensive lineman, what are you going to do? You know,
Mother Dunn.
Oh, okay, he's still here. He's our first, right?
Yep.
Not only is he our first, he's the first.
Was he from Michigan too?
I don't know.
One of our players was a Michigan player at one point too.
Sounds like something Mother would have done.
Mother Dunn was the first.
Mother's Dunn. You do whatever the hell you want.
That's exactly right.
First All-American anywhere, period, from outside the Ivy League.
Jeez.
Because back in the day, that's where the football got played.
Yeah.
The Ivy League.
Yep.
Yale and Harvard and Princeton were the big three.
Because you're reading that book.
Yeah, but I knew that before that.
No, so I got my era. No, I don't. Brandon, you don't any defensive guys when we were there.
Darren Perry was All-American.
VP was All-American.
And Ben Fatty.
91.
Ben Fatty was an All-American.
Ben Fatty was good as hell.
So those are your two. Then Kim.
Kimani, yep.
And LeVar and Courtney and Brandon.
Courtney and Brandon should probably be in. Was Brandon the first team All-American?
Yeah.
In 99.
99. All three of them were.
Jeez.
Yeah, so here I will give you since 2002, I'm going to rattle off the Penn State All-Americans. Michael Haynes,
Jimmy Kennedy.
Larry Johnson probably could be. Do you think?
Yeah. He has the name.
Yeah.
And he has those gaudy-ass stats from the 2,000-yard season.
Although if any of the voters are looking at his Twitter account, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
It should not make it
come
into play.
I mean, it shouldn't come into play for Lawrence Phillips either, but we don't think he's ever getting in.
Well, he can't really have a Twitter right now.
Well, fair. Jimmy Kennedy, correct. Tom Bahali, we talked about him. Puzz, Alan Zamitis, one of my all-time favorites.
Yes, he is.
Dan Connor, Sean Lee, A.Q. Shipley.
Yep.
Jared
A.Q's got a shot. He won the Remington.
Remington, yeah.
That's
yeah.
Gotta
very
have
good
some
point.
accolades
Yeah,
and
very
stuff
good
like
point.
that. So he may have a shot.
The Remington award-winning center was the third defensive tackle in the rotation in the 2005 team.
Correct. The Cubby
I love
Bear.
that. Then you got the two D linemen, Aaron Maben and Jared Odrick. Steph Wisniewski, 4-year starter. That's somebody who's maybe going to get a look down the line. Devin Still, correct. Mike Mowdy, A-Rob was in 2013 the first-team All-American. Then you got Carl Nassib, Saquon Barkley, Micah Parsons, and Jaquan Brisker.
Jeez. You know, I just thought about who has a great name but wasn't an All-American was Michael Robinson.
Yeah. Oh, man, dude.
Talk about a guy who should go in just on what he did for the team.
Yep.
That guy did so many different things at Penn State and was also, I think, the best leader I've ever seen in the program. Now, again, this is for you. You'll be like, well, you didn't see so-and-so and name some guy you guys played with. I'm just talking about from a fan's perspective.
I'll tell you this much right now. The thing about Puzz Leslie, he was not a vocal leader. He was not that guy. He didn't need to be. He had Michael Robinson and Alan Zamitis.
Sure.
On either side of him, get ready to beat the crap out of him.
What a set of tri-captains, by the way.
Right?
My God.
By the way, that's probably one of my favorite pictures at Penn State.
Oh, with the three of them walking out of the
It's black and white,
tunnel.
except for those three are coming out of the tunnel, and they're in color.
Crazy.
It is
awesome.
amazing.
Yep.
That's is that Tom Maris? I think it is Tommy Maris. So, but that's probably one of my favorite ones. But there's a guy like Michael, but I don't. There's a guy who should be in just on what he did for the program.
Yep.
And
So I skipped my 5-year high school reunion because I'm not skipping a Penn State home game. It was against Louisiana Tech, but it was a Penn State home game. I'm not skipping a game at Beaver Stadium. And I got to see Michael Robinson make history as a freshman because he, I think he was the first Penn State player, maybe even I'll look it up while we're talking here. But he had a rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown all in one game. And there was some significance to that. And then, we were joking about the fact that the 03 and 04 offenses were so bad that Michael Robinson was a leading receiver one year and like a leading or second leading rusher as a running back, not even as a dual threat quarterback, just as a running back mostly. And then he was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year his senior season as a quarterback.
Jeez.
That's crazy. What a career.
In the running for the Heisman Trophy his senior year, Big Ten champion.
And they said, you're not going to play quarterback in the NFL. He said, okay, I'll play fullback. I'll do whatever it takes for the team.
Yep.
That's an amazing attitude to have. Tim Tebow still might be in the NFL if he had that attitude.
Actually, it's funny. You talk about him playing fullback in the pros. So he started with San Francisco, and then he went to Seattle, won a Super Bowl ring there. And the thing that stuck out to me was around the time that M-Rob went to the pros was when they started doing those C's, like on the hockey jerseys. They do the captain patches. He was a special teams captain, like from his
almost
second year on through the rest of his career.
We had C's in our jerseys?
No, the NFL.
Oh, yes.
I'm saying as a second year player in San Francisco.
I have an honest question for you, and some of them are different. They have the different dots on them. That's how many years you were the captain. Yeah. Some of them are like gold, and that was like a 5-year captain,
something like that. Yeah, you get a anniversary patch,
and then the guys who win Walter Payton Man of the Year get that sewn on their jerseys too.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow, the NFL does something. Wow,
it's kind of neat.
Yeah. Well, my first. Because I was coaching at the time, and I couldn't really watch Penn State as much as I thought I wanted to. But 04, my first introduction to Michael Robinson was at the Wisconsin game.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
Caught the first pass of the game, but then who was Trey? Not Trey, Jesus. Who was the quarterback? Not Trace McSorley.
The quarterback for
he got hurt the first play of the game.
Zach Mills.
Zach Mills. So he threw a bomb down the left sideline to Michael Robinson. He makes the catch, but Mills got knocked out of the game. Remember that?
Robinson's.
Remember that? And then 2 plays
later,
they had Michael at quarterback.
And
Came and
sir. Knocked him out of the game. And Chris Boganner, the fourth play of the game, is now your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
There was what game? Oh, it was Iowa this year. I texted Christo. I said, "You better be warming up, dude. You might have to go out there right now." And he goes, "I just had that same damn feeling." What are you looking up?
I was trying to find that Michael Robinson reference. It might have actually not been the Louisiana Tech game. I forget which game. I thought it was the La Tech game that year. I know. I'm getting old.
Go to the game stats.
Well, it says here they were all rushing touchdowns. I thought he had a receiving, rushing, and passing touchdown all in one game.
He probably did.
I don't know.
Gotcha. So, anybody else you think? I have maybe a deeper question for you right now.
Shoot.
Do we have any NFL Hall of Famers
yet to go in?
I mean, who do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think like Steve Wisniewski's not in yet, is he?
Steve Wisniewski is not in the NFL Hall.
Yeah, I think he's a potential down the line.
Yeah,
he's the first name that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I can't believe he's not in there.
Yeah. It's kind of it's surprising.
Now, Brandon, do you think? I mean, we have this. We talk constantly. This is what me and Brandon talk about when Booch is around. It's tough for centers and guards to get in, but Faneca got in last year. Do you think that Jeff has any shot?
Well, I think because Faneca went in, I feel like, yeah.
He has a shot.
But it'll probably be a bit. But I do think so. You got Hutchinson went in and Faneca went in. I think that if any of that group does, right, I think Jeff definitely does.
So I've talked to a couple of my friends in the Pittsburgh media about this because, they love him in Pittsburgh, obviously. Yeah. And most of them have said probably not, mainly because he played so much of his career in Detroit, which is like no man's
That's what I was about to say. He didn't get a lot of publicity.
Started with Barry Sanders, ended with Big Ben and Jerome Bettis.
And the bus. Yeah. But,
play next to Lomas Brown.
And switching positions, too, probably. So
guard to center.
Yeah, like you would think the versatility would be a plus, but it's maybe
what does it go in as, right?
You played against them both. Who was the better pro, Marco or Jeff?
Jeff, probably.
Really?
Yeah, Marco was way more Marco. Physical, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like making funny noises when he
sounded like Conan the Barbarian in the pit of death.
Yeah. And completely unwilling to engage in any sort of conversation with me during the game. Whereas like Jeff and I could have a conversation and smash into each other and have another conversation.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, no. And look, Jeff had, a lot of talent around him too. When I played him at both places, and so like when he was playing center with Faneca next to him, like that's a tough day right there. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the TV up here and I'm saying, all right, we're talking about centers going to the NFL. I think Jeff Saturday gets to the NFL Hall of Fame.
I do too.
But he doesn't
deserve it.
Does not deserve it, but he has the name.
By the way, since we're talking about this Rams-Colts game on the NFL Network, here at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, a great place to come for wings and beers and sports on TV.
Buffet night tonight.
Yeah, it is.
And we are talking about old school Penn State football. They just showed on TV Trung candidate.
Oh, yeah.
Running back for the Rams. And I relate him back to Penn State football, gentlemen, because
Arizona Wildcats.
And we beat the absolute hell
out
of that Arizona team in the Pigskin Classic.
Yeah.
To start the 99 season.
But played it at home, right?
Yeah.
Instead
Split crew College Game Day.
Yeah.
College Game Day was, I think, were they in Tallahassee and also in State College? Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I remember the first play of the game, Chaffee Fields took that little jet sweep thing, quarterback hands it right off.
Oh, boy.
I remember we were
destroyed those fools. That was a fun day.
It was a noon game for them, for us.
Yeah.
9 a.m. for them. You got to think about that.
Yeah. Well, they never woke up.
No, they didn't. It's like Oregon State came in like 05. They came in
and now, like people hearing us talking about, we beat the crap out of Arizona. It's like, you beat Arizona in football. Do you want a medal or a chest to pin it on? That was a 3-4 matchup.
Yeah.
They were loaded.
They were supposed to be like world beaters. They're
on the list for costing us a national title.
Why? Arizona?
Yeah, because they were the odds-on favorite to win the Pac-12
that
year. That's right.
Yeah, right.
That was
right.
That was Teddy Bruschi.
Yeah.
Desert Swarm.
Desert Swarm.
Desert Swarm.
Waldrop.
Rob Waldrop.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when Oregon upset them, and I think that Arizona lost like 4 games that year. So that's when we had to play the 17th ranked Oregon team.
Yeah, that was another way of being in the Big Ten. Yeah. Locked us into playing the Pac-12, Pac-10 back then. They were terrible.
Number 3 team in the country, Miami, who was definitely not the number 3 team in the country at that point.
No.
Dance party, they were number 1. They could dance before, after plays on that game. I remember sitting there watching that Noble and be like, will you stop dancing? You're going to get tired and cramp up. And you're watching Nebraska just sit there and slowly, methodically just beat the living crap out of them.
Wear them out.
As they're getting more and more cramped up and getting carried up the field. And who's the team from Miami and who's the team from the Midwest right now?
Yeah.
I remember watching that. I was like, God, stop freaking jumping around and dancing around. Because they were up big on Nebraska then. I remember going to first half, we're like, dude, we're going to win the national freaking title. We're going to win this. Holy crap.
Well, Nebraska's team was so well conditioned because they had about 275 guys on the roster back then.
True that.
Yes.
They had the walk-on packages back there. You remember all that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
300 guys out there on the field,
Yeah.
2 full football
They
fields
have
for
7
stretch.
walk-on starters. How's that happen? Well, they're from the state of Nebraska. You know how that worked, Booch? How they did that?
You know what?
They had
Explain it
each
again.
county in Nebraska had a football scholarship that if they had a kid come up from their county,
Yes.
that a walk-on
Yeah.
would get a scholarship
Yeah,
from his
yeah.
town. So
Yes.
if he was from Nebraska, so then
Amazing.
you have 85 scholarships for out-of-state guys now.
I-
How
you-
is that not cheating?
Yeah.
You know what? They gamed the system, and I respect it.
Well, that's when they were sort of respectable because by 95 and 6 is when that's when everything.
Oh, yeah, went off the rails.
Yeah. And that's when they were the Peter brothers and stuff like that. And
The Peter brothers.
they were,
Boy,
Yeah.
those guys. Christian and Jason.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
from North Jersey. Playing.
They had a
in
lot.
Nebraska.
Doug Coleman, they had a lot. They went to
Had
Jersey a lot. They
Always.
still do.
Mike Rozier
Yep, Rozier, yeah.
always had a lot of Jersey guys. So did Iowa.
Yeah,
I don't know
Iowa-
what it was about it, but they had
Sorry.
always. That's all right, buddy.
Mike
Yeah.
Rozier is a perfect example of you were talking about what would have happened if Kajana Carter or Larry Johnson got left in games where the team was blowing the opponent out.
There's another one.
My
Mike Rozier
God.
and Turner Gill might be in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Ah.
Ooh. That's a good one.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it
a
just
good
popped
one.
in my head there.
Oh, that is a good one. Because so Rozier's in for sure. Because you don't win the Heisman and not get in the Hall of Fame, right?
I think, yeah.
It's got to be like an automatic
Sure.
selection. Yeah. So I'm going to look up Turner Gill here. That's a good one.
So that would have been 83. My first game watching my brother play at Penn State was in the Meadowlands in 1983, watching the kickoff classic. The first year they ever had a kickoff classic, it was Nebraska and Penn State.
Yep.
Oh my God, did Nebraska beat their doors in.
Yes, they did. I remember
I
that.
think it was 36-6.
Oh,
score was.
yes.
And it could have been 66
Oh, that
to
was
6.
yeah, not one of our proudest moments.
But that was 83. That was the year that they ended up losing on the 2-point play to a Bernie Kosar led.
Yeah.
Little known fact, Booch. Bernie Kosar
Yes, he's going to play quarterback
is
for the Browns
younger.
this year.
Now, remember what year did he get out? He was younger
probably 84, 85.
age-wise than Vinny Testaverde.
What?
Yep. Vinny Testaverde is physically older than Bernie Kosar.
So Bernie Kosar's last year was what,
83 or 84, one of
84.
those.
Okay.
And then Vinny won the Heisman in 1986. Now, Vinny, remember, he did a fifth year at Fort Union Military Academy in Virginia.
Yeah.
So there you go. So there's another year to add on top of that.
All right.
I think they may have actually come in the same class.
Turner Gill is a nah on
He
the
said,
Hall of Fame.
No Hall of Fame, huh?
But that was a really good one. That was in terms of
I
just
came
trying to
to
come
one
up
earlier,
off the top of your
Cordell
head.
Stewart and then Rashawn Salam, but you said no way Cordell Stewart's in the NFL.
I'll look it up. But
Well,
I'll
he
be,
wasn't a first-time
I'll
All-American because
be
Kerry was
astounded.
Yeah, Kerry was.
Across the board
And
the NFL.
Every Pittsburgh Steelers fan will be furious if Cordell Stewart's in the College Football Hall of Fame. He's in the Colorado Hall of Fame,
Oh, okay, all right.
but that's it.
No, but I love this question because I love been talking about it the last day now. But I mean, I hope Kajana gets in, but I don't know. We have to figure out how long you stay actually on the list and when you come off.
I
50
mean,
years.
I know- huh?
50 years.
50.
You have to have played college football within the last 50 years.
No. When does DJ he's been voted in for he's been on the ballot for 8 or 9 years now.
I
How
feel
long
like-
are you actually on the ballot?
Oh, I think every year you probably have to get renominated, don't you? No?
I think that you stay on the ballot
Then for 50 years.
because I swear to God that
straight from the horse's mouth. There
I
you go.
swear to
That's an
God.
authoritative source. Don't even bother checking.
I'm telling
sure
you,
it's
Booch,
right.
I think Steve Wisniewski was up for the Hall of Fame and he did not get it. The College Hall of Fame.
That's insane.
terrible.
That is insane. Dave
Yeah.
Zott should be in that mix too.
Dave Zott.
Zotter.
He was not a first-team All-American, but I understand what you're saying, though. He was a hell of an NFL player.
Oh, man. Yeah.
He was a hell of an NFL player.
Zotter. Good guy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about this now. That is a crazy high standard for an offensive lineman to have to be a first-team All-American to make the Hall of Fame.
I think that to be qualified for the College Football Hall of Fame, you had to be an All-American.
Yeah, I mean,
First team.
Again, you don't want to just put everybody in there. I get it.
There's a Hall of Fame for a reason.
Yeah,
This is the problem I had with the NFL putting that 90-person class in 2 years ago. It was just like, okay, we're the trophy generation for the old generation now, in my opinion.
They were all good. They all belonged there. And if I was going to pick one guy who had to be pulled out of that group, it would be Howard Carmichael.
Why?
No bias.
Oh. Pick them out?
Howard Carmichael's an NFL Hall of Famer. Nobody cares about this, but
I got you.
Reuben Frank wrote a really good column that totally convinced me. It was just putting Howard Carmichael's stats in context, talk about the 94 offense and everybody else.
Yep.
Same thing. Here's Howard Carmichael's career. Here's what everybody else in the league was doing over that stretch of time. Tell me he's not a Hall of Famer. It was very convincing. And that's the same thing I would say about the 94 offense, and that's the same thing I'd say about Kijana Carter being a first ballot college Hall of Famer. If he's not, check the ballots. Stop the steal.
Gonna look into it. I'm gonna go home and do some research on the what it takes to get in, how many votes, plus if there's I think that they can.
Herschel Walker's getting involved in politics now. Maybe there's a little ballot stuffing going on. Little sour grapes left over from the Sugar Bowl. Oh, just
my opinion.
Investigate in that.
What the hell took so long for Kijana to get put on the list?
Well, sometimes, man, that is a very weird process, in my opinion. I have seen names pop up, and not just at Penn State, just like notable college football players who I see pop up as first-time nominees. And I'm like, how is it? First of all, how has this guy not been in for 10 years? Yes. How is he only getting nominated now? It's that I don't understand the process.
What's Steve Wisniewski's claim to fame at Penn State? He had pneumonia 2 weeks before the Fiesta Bowl, blocking Jerome Brown in that, and he was a true sophomore. He played that game at 246 pounds.
Yeah.
To block Jerome
Brown. He had to block the whole game. And they had another guy named Bill Hawkins who was a hell of it. And George Myra Jr.
Yep.
They had another big Italian D tackle too. But he was 242 pounds. Played that game.
Jeez.
Can't do that now.
No.
Jerome Brown is one of the most dominating defensive linemen I have seen in my entire life.
Coach, well, it's the second week in a row now. We still haven't gotten to our great teams that didn't win titles.
Well, we're going to get there.
I know,
eventually.
But you keep on saying, and I bring up
summer.
I put him up there in the NFL. His NFL career, I put right up there with your boy, another 99, Dan Hampton. Like he was that kind of disruptive player. That you could put him. You could have put Jerome Brown on a front four with 3 slappies.
Yeah,
and it still would have been advantage defense.
Yeah,
think about that. Like the Miami D tackles that they've had, like 15-year. Who's the guy from the Seahawks?
Cortez Kennedy.
He was enormous.
Yep.
And that guy could move like no
Russell
other. Maryland, Jerome Brown. You get into Warren Sappier, and it's like
Booger.
Crap, man. Booger didn't play.
Oh, he was LSU.
He was LSU. I was like, wait a minute, they had a Booger too?
No, they didn't know who's the other D tackle they had. Will Fork.
Oh, Jesus.
Is who you're thinking
of.
Another
nose guard, yeah.
For the 2001 Miami Hurricane. Goodness gracious.
Creatures.
That gives so who do you think, what do we finally figure out, Butch? You think that Bobby gets in? Do you think Kyle gets in? Do you think Jeff gets in for my team, our team, Brandon?
I think Jeff's going to be the toughest one, but Kyle and Bobby, absolutely.
But Jeff was a 2-time All-American and the All-Academic All-American. The fact that he's not in there already makes me sick. What
academic All-American
college football,
yeah,
college football. Yeah. So I moved back to the NFL. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff should be in there.
They all get in. I mean, Bobby.
So I bought my tux for a reason, baby. Woo.
Bobby's got to be a slam dunk.
First ever Biletnikoff winner.
Yeah. He's the guy that when I watch old film of those teams, I would just go, man, I didn't realize how good he was.
Again, we were running a
We were running,
archaic offense.
We were
Yeah,
running near and far backs. Yeah, I mean, it was blue and brown or whatever they used to call them.
Jeez, man.
I'm glad you brought up going back and watching them still today, because I know when I talk to some of my friends who are younger than I am, they think I'm just like viewing the past through blue and white colored glasses. But like, no disrespect at all. None to some of the incredible receivers Penn State has got. Jahan Dotson and Allen Robinson and Godwin and Deion Butler and all those guys. Nobody's been better that I have watched play for Penn State at the receiver spot than Bobby Ingram, in my opinion. He is still the number one.
I say it all the time. OJ was the best athlete I ever played with. Bobby was the best football player.
Yeah.
And you know who agreed with me? OJ McDuffie.
Yeah.
OJ says, I got no argument with that.
I mean, 3 straight seasons. That guy was money in the bank. Ingram, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was like, had ice in his veins. He had big cojones, and he made things happen. And he was not the fastest guy. He was by far not the biggest guy,
No.
nor the strongest guy. But my God, did he make it work? He was well coached.
Yeah, having Kenny there
Jackson was a fantastic addition for Bobby. Fantastic.
So since we're already over time, I got to ask you guys this question. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Since Bobby, who is the player, the Penn State receiver, who has reminded you the most of him in terms of the way he plays?
Dang. Since Bobby.
Because I've got an answer.
I Bobby wasn't a physical guy, so I might have to go Jordan Norwood.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Good answer. I love Jordan
some
Norwood.
great impossible catches, but he made the catches.
Yeah.
And he didn't drop many. I don't remember Jordan dropping many passes. I remember Jordan about getting knocked the hell out against USC, getting up and in that Rose Bowl. He got up and took that hit, and my Lord. Any choice? Nope.
I don't know. Like I don't know if there's anybody that's been like him.
So here's my answer. I hope this isn't recency bias, but I think it's Dotson.
Dotson was the one that I was, but I didn't want to think because it's the one I just came to
I'm
mind
talking
first.
about just in terms of his game.
Yeah.
Like when you look at his build and his speed, like good speed, not elite, not a huge guy, but not a shrimp.
Very smooth.
Shrimp.
And
you gonna chuck a football later? I love those words. Hey, champ, how you doing?
Chief, what's happening, Chief?
What's happening, Chief?
But in terms of ability to just get open and make catches, like if you got the ball anywhere within the vicinity of Dotson, he was hauling it in. Especially this past season, the route running, the get open, contested catches, and just you get the ball in the vicinity of him and he pulls it down, like that catch he made versus Auburn in the, I think it was like the third quarter. No, I'm talking about Dotson's catch versus Auburn at the whiteout this year.
Yes.
And I remember somebody said, that's Clifford was way off target with that. And I'm like, if he was throwing that to anyone else, I would say, yeah, you're right. But I think Dotson made that catch so many times in practice. He knew he could put the ball there, and there was a better than 50% chance Dotson was going to pull it down.
Well, that was the thing that Kerry used to come back to the huddle. He'd be like, dude, I was trying to throw the freaking ball away, and he won't let me throw it away. Like he made a catch against Ohio State where, the linebacker had the perfect depth and this and that. And he waited, and he finally cleared. And Kerry was like, I'm just going to throw this into the dirt, and Bobby just lays out like horizontally, and he caught everything. You never saw Bobby drop a pass, never.
Speaking of great Penn State receivers, a guy we didn't mention, but our all-time receptions leader, Deshaun Hamilton.
Yeah.
It seems like he got hurt again today, so prayers up to him. Great kid. I really hope it's not serious, but hell of a career at Penn State that probably gets overshadowed a little bit because he spent 2 years on the sanctions teams that couldn't go to bowl games. But big part of Penn State's resurgence. My God, that guy damn near single-handedly won us that Fiesta Bowl versus Washington, him and Trace McSorley, with a little help from Saquon
Yeah,
Barkley.
Saquon Barkley
Yeah, he
wasn't
was
bad
all
that
right.
game.
He was okay.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, Nobes, let's go enjoy the rest of our beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna go
Fall
out get some
afternoon
sun
here.
after this.
Yes. Yeah. Go.
I love Seattle this time of year.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
beautiful.
perfect.
Space
Take
Needle
a
looks great.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Take a boat down to the Boeing plant real quick. Now we'll get some stuff done. Nobes, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
the show.
Thanks for having me.
Best 2 out of 3?
It's one fantastic ride. The turbocharged, tech-inspired new Kia Forte.
There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube. From live music to exciting new flavors, meet your friends and refuel at your local Quaker Steak and Lube today. Can't slow down? Then order online. Pick up and get back on the road. Find us at thelube.com.